And welcome everyone to the latest edition of Katz Chats here for the Missouri Valley Conference. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Casey Alexander from Belmont. And Belmont's got quite a task. They have Indiana State coming in, 5-5 in the Valley. This league, as we have seen, it can be highly fluid. There can be a great team coming in, and yet position matters for Arch Madness because usually there's 6 contenders that can win it in St. Louis. But let's start with this Indiana State game. What do you need to do, Casey, to pull off the upset at home?
Yeah, obviously an exceptional team. I love their team, and they really have no holes. The best thing we can do is just show up ready to go. I think you have to play with a real high level of confidence. You clearly have to perform very well, and then we've got to be great on the defensive end, which is a tall order. They're first in the country in three-point field goal percentage, but they also are third in the country in three-point field goal makes per game. And you combine those two things, that's pretty rough.
And they've won on the road quite a bit. You've had very experienced teams, both as head coach and assistant. How have your teams met the moment, met the challenge when they've been playing a team that has come in as the favorite, expected to win?
Well, it's a good question. And we're a young team right now, which is honestly, I think, a little bit of our, maybe part of our problem. But historically, Belmont, we're a proud program that's won a lot of games. We believe in who we are and how we win. And that has kind of solidified us over the years. Again, each game, each team is different, but that's been our formula in the past.
All right, so you've had pretty good balance, thus far, offensively, but what needs to click well, not just in this game, but to hold that position of being one of those potentially top 4 teams before we get to St. Louis?
Yeah, well, one thing that's an easy point too is that we've played without our best playmaker on both ends of the floor, and Jacoby Gillespie. He's missed our last 6 or 7 games, and he will be back at some point in time. Not exactly sure when. So we have to hold the fort down until he returns, and then hopefully he will launch us into better days ahead. It's a tough league, as you already mentioned. But regardless of seed going into Arch Madness, I do think there are a number of teams that can do some damage in St. Louis.
So let's go back to Gillespie. Give me the the Belmont with him and without him, and hopefully one with him again. What have those teams looked like?
Well, our margin for error is just so much smaller without him. He's our best playmaker offensively, gets us a lot of easy baskets. Defensively, he's our best disruptor, which also leads to the easy baskets. So he just has a way to impact the game from sheer talent alone. And so without him, efficiency becomes so much more of a premium. We got to get scouting reports right defensively, and we've got to really execute at a high level on the offensive end, just because there's not as much room for error.
All right, so let's assume he's back, and let's say that you guys can get into that top group and get a better seed. What's the potential that this team could be a problem and could go on a run in St. Louis?
Yeah, I'm confident in this team. When he is back, that gives us 3 really high-level scores, and he and Cade Tyson and Malik Dia all averaging 16 or 17 a game right now. All 3 are sophomores. And the best part about that is they're all completely different. I mean, you've got a guard, you've got a wing, and you've got an inside guy that bring different strengths to the team. So I think that that balance across those 3 guys is really important.
I also don't think people fully grasp the atmosphere that you guys can produce there in Nashville. You got first place team coming in. What's it been like to see that kind of environment that consistently from Rick Bird to you has been built at Belmont?
Yeah, and it has been built over time. A lot of people forget we're still pretty young in the whole Division I thing. We've only been doing it for maybe 20 years. But the Curb Event Center is an awesome, really family-friendly environment. Our students are great. So it really hurts us over those Christmas holidays and so forth when they're not around. But it's a fun place to play. We've won at a really high level with home games over the course of time, and so naturally we hope that continues tomorrow night with Indiana State.
Hey, one last thing, Casey. You've been in the league now just a couple of years. As I said, there's a lot of fluidity in it. Now Drake is up. They weren't before. Now Indiana State's up under Josh Hurts. That wasn't a thing before. Have you seen, as competitive as the league is, how there can be movement, and if you get the right group, that you guys can compete for a title. It's not like it's a huge mountain to climb to get back up near the top.
Yeah, I think we have everything that we need. First of all, here we got great facilities, we got a great city, we got a lot of history and a winning tradition. So I don't have any doubt that Belmont can be a player in this league on a somewhat frequent basis. I don't know if we'll dominate the league like we have maybe in our previous stops, but it can be done. I look at Northern Iowa probably as the as kind of the epitome of what you're talking about. 2 years ago, they win the league in a season where Loyola Chicago went to the Sweet 16. Last year, they finished eighth. This year they're preseason second, and they're kind of fighting their way back to that mark. So that's the best example I can give of. I mean, it's a really good program, and not even they are, at the top of the league every year because there's so many other good teams in the league.
Well, look, we're going to be looking forward to it. A great matchup, Indiana State at Belmont on Wednesday night in the Valley. It should be a great atmosphere in Nashville. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you so much.